Hey everybody, I'm Psychosaurus, and I'm gonna ask you, what are you doing? Why aren't you playing Age of Empires Online? The Romans are out. Come on, go play. Come on, do it. They're out. Come on, man. And if you're already playing, well, this video is just for you, because we're gonna go through every single milestone today. And oh boy, we're gonna use this nice fandom wiki for Age of Empires Online, and we'll go through every single one of these milestones. So let's get started. Why won't we? Let's go. Let's start with the Greek ones because Greeks are number one. Okay, so before I start, actually, what are the milestones? Pretty much, milestones are like nice bonuses you get during a quest, and they are active throughout the whole quest. So once you start a quest, you have these bonuses. Nice and easy. You get 5 milestones per civ, and you get all 5 active for the civ you're playing as. Plus you can select one for each other civ. So with the Romans you get actually one additional. So you can have in total 5 milestones for your civ. So let's say you play as Greek, so you get 5 of these, and then you get plus one for each other. So that means you get one for Egyptians, one for Persian, one for Celt, one for Babylonian, one for Norse, and one for Roman. So that's in total of 11 milestones, 11 bonuses just for you. Nice thing is you can always select which you want. Be careful when you select the milestone. It's not very cheap to actually restart your milestones. And remember, it's expensive, yes, but remember that before you could not restart your milestones ever. You could not restart your milestones ever before. So yeah, pretty much the only way was delete your save. So be glad that it's actually an option now, and that it costs 1000 empire points to restart your milestones. So you might actually want to select your milestones properly for the first times before you restart, but at the end you might just restart so you can select the milestones depending on your playstyle. So let's start with those quick ones. Oh yeah, I forgot. You get one at level 5, one at level 10, one at level 20, one at level 30, and one at level 40. So remember, once you reach those levels, take a look at those milestones. If you're playing as one of those pro civs, so that means Persian, Babylonian, or Norse, you can already select 3 of those milestones when you just create the city. So you might wanna select those first. Okay, now let's get to those Greek ones. So, level 5, we got Foraging, increases villager gathering rate from berry bushes by 6%, versus Harvesting, decreases storehouse tech cost by 15%. Now, I'm not really against foraging, but, well, gathering from berry bushes, you're gonna use it mainly early game, because later you just go for the farms, or you just buy the food from the market, so you don't really care about berry bushes later. So this is more like an early game buff, but so is the storehouse tech cost. So why I think it's better to go with harvesting, because you can afford the picking gloves upgrade from storehouse, which increases the gather rate from berry bushes by 20%, so you can afford it sooner. So in my opinion, it's better to go this because you get the upgrade, which is much stronger than this. And yeah, you get it so soon, much more powerful. And this goes even late into later stages when the storehouse tax get even more expensive, so you can save quite a lot of resources there. It's not gonna be much, it's only 15%, but it's gonna help a lot. So I definitely suggest go harvesting over foraging. Let's go for level 10. Okay, so we got Servitude, decreases villager cost by 8%, versus Sentries, increases infantry line of sight by 20%. Well, all I'm gonna say, Servitude is definitely the choice here. The infantry line of sight, you don't really need it. line of sight for your infantry. You're not gonna scout with your infantry. You pretty much have your scout, and later once you have your gear, your watch posts give you enough line of sight. You don't really need it. Plus, you can use your ranged units for scouting instead because you get the line of sight upgrades from the archer ranges. And that is nice, but it's more like when you are moving your main army. And for scouting, I would rather recommend cavalry units because they are fast. So it's gonna be definitely faster to scout with cavalry than infantry. So I don't think line of sight on infantry is gonna be that useful. And yeah, villager cost 8%, saving a lot of food early. Definitely great milestones here. And definitely can help you as Greeks because hey, your spearmen cost a lot of food, so definitely great to save some food there. So servitude here, no matter what. Level 20. Field rations enables 1 health per second regen for infantry, ranged and cavalry units versus punk rationing increases infantry damage by 8%. This one is also one of those more obvious, and it should be punk rationing. Now, I'm not against like health regen, but 1 health per second is not really that much. Especially once you have gear on your units, they'll just have so much health that 1 health per second is just insignificant. You will not even notice it, pretty much. And when you're playing legendary quests, yeah, your units are gonna take a lot of damage. 1 health is not gonna save them. So it's definitely better to just go infantry damage. Plus this is one of those milestones you can pick on the other civs, especially when you're focusing on infantry. So if you're playing, let's say, as Norse, this is great milestone to select. So punk rationing level 20, definitely. Level 30. Thoroughbred increases cavalry health by 8% versus siege efficiency decreases Palintoron cost by 8%. Both are pretty okay, but I'm gonna say go with Thoroughbred, the cavalry health. It's gonna be much more useful. Palintorons are late game units, and late game you don't really have issues with resources. 8% is nice discount, but it's not necessary because typically you don't go that many Palintorons. You don't really need that many Palintorons, so it's not gonna save you that much. And since it's late game, yeah, it's not gonna be that much. So cavalry health is definitely gonna be more useful, and it definitely goes really well with Hippicans who already get a lot of health, so even more health for those is very nice. And this definitely can be one of those milestones you can pick as the other saves when you're focusing on cavalry, such as Egyptians going with elephants. So for me this is thoroughbred 100%. Now level 40. Parapets increases building damage by 10% versus husbandry decreases cavalry training time by 5%. Both of these are pretty okay, I would say. But I don't think cavalry training time by 5% is that significant. It's okay, but 5% not really that much, to be honest. And when you start spamming cavalry, yeah, you have so many stables that 5% is not gonna do that much, to be honest. So I think parapets is better choice, and this definitely can help you when you're defending against the waves of enemies early. You build few towers here and there, so 10% damage can be very useful, and especially as Greeks you get so many attacks for your towers, including the murder holes that increase tower damage by 25%. It goes really well with Greeks, so definitely parapets. Okay, so those were the Greek milestones. Let's move on to the Egyptian ones. Level 5. Excavation increases villager stone conservation by 25% versus startup construction increases building build time by 8%. So I think both are pretty okay milestones. I think most people will suggest going with thought construction because this helps Egyptian players a lot, especially when you're aging up. You lower the build time for your temples, namely the Temple of Ta. 8% is going to be very noticeable. Also, when you're going for elephants, you obviously want to build a lot of fortresses. Fortress takes a while to build, so again, build time helps there. On the other side, hey, fortresses cost something. Why not just have more stone? That can work. And if you feel like hey, the building time is just better. Remember, you can always use Priestess of Ra to lower the build time as well. And if you pick one of these, hey, Priestess is buffed even more. So hey, choose one and just use it. It's your choice. So go ahead. I think this is what you prefer. If I had to say, Thought construction feels a little bit better for the Egyptian, but I think both are very solid choices. So level 10 we got Trample, increases cavalry damage by 8% versus offerings, decreases priest cost by 15%. Both of these are pretty nice, but if you're going mainly for elephants, obviously Trample is gonna be your number one choice here. And most likely you will not go that many priests. But if you're using your Priestess of Ra early, this can help you affording those priestesses early. Because 15%, that's 15 gold out of one priestess. So that can save you some gold here and there. And you can afford them, then you can also use them to heal your units early. So this can be a very nice milestone as well. So I would say both of these are up to you. I think Trample is slightly better because later you don't really care about the cost that much, and you can always put some gear on your priests to make them cheaper. So I think Trample is better here for the combat effectiveness in the late game. So let's move on to level 20 milestone. We got Overwatch, increases ranged line of sight by 20% versus Siege Engineers, decreases siege training time by 5%. I think this one is up to you, to be honest. Ranged line of sight is very nice, and on Egyptian you don't get the archer range text for line of sight because you don't have archery ranges. So getting some additional line of sight can be very nice to keep your ranged units safe. So you actually see further and know where the enemies are and don't go into some nasty situation blindly. Oh boy, could be disgusting. Siege engineers. Yeah, I would argue that you can build more siege workshops, but then how many siege units are you actually going for? That's a question. This is very nice because Egyptian Palinterons take a long time to train, so lowering the train time there is very nice. If you're going for quite a few catapults, hey, it can help. So this can work very nicely. If you're replacing them after, well, you're doing something wrong. So you're not gonna need it that much. So it's okay if you want to get out those siege units faster. So for me, it's up to you. I think it's up to you. Honestly, I wouldn't mind going either of those, so I'll leave it to you to choose from. Both make pretty good sense in some way. Okay, level 30. Multi multifaceted what? I don't know what that means. Multifaceted construction increases building health by 10%. Soldiering increases infantry, ranged, and cavalry health by 3%. I'll be honest, increases infantry, ranged, cavalry health by 3%. Yeah, that's not much, but let's be honest, you don't really want to play defensively either. You want to get your units out as soon as possible and start going in. And well, playing defensive, you don't really want your buildings to take damage, to be honest. It can be nice, but I think it's just better to go with soldiering. I'll leave this one up to you, but I think soldiering is better option because your units are the thing that decides how the quest goes, not your buildings, not your building health to be exact. So for me, it's soldiering. Level 40. Prosperity grants a small trickle of 0.25 food, wood, gold, and stone per second. Versus riding crop increases cavalry movement speed by 5%. I think both of these milestones are pretty nice. I'm somewhat inclined towards the prosperity more. It's not much you get, but over the time it just adds up and you can just save some, or you can just generate some amount of resources for something. Like if you're playing for a minute, you obviously get 15 resources of each. So when you play for 5 minutes, hey, it's your free melee armor damage upgrade in the matter of stone. You play for 10 minutes, hey, full armor attack for free. So this can add up pretty fast, or rather it's gonna be slow, but it's gonna add up over time pretty nicely. So I don't think it's completely bad, and it's definitely great milestone for city conquest when you need the gold. Well, obviously riding crop, hey, make your cavalry units move faster. Definitely works great with the elephants. So you want fast elephants, hey, this is your choice. Very nice. So I think it's up to you on this one. I kinda like the prosperity, to be honest. I'm not really someone who goes often for elephants. So for me it's prosperity, but hey, both are good. Okay, let's move on to the Persian ones. These are gonna be more interesting. So, level 5 milestones. Skilled labor decreases villager training time by 5%. Versus forester increases villager gathering rate from trees by 6%. So pretty much forester seems pretty nice because you need a lot of wood because you need it on buildings. You can always go for ranged units. Again, you need a lot of wood, or you can go siege. Again, you need a lot of wood. So having a lot of wood is very nice. But I'll be honest, I kind of like skilled labor. It seems like 5% only on your villagers. Don't get fooled. This one is actually better than it looks. Because it does not actually mean villager as a unit, it actually means villager as a type. And what I mean by that, it does not affect only villagers, but it also affects caravans, it actually affects fishing boats and merchant transports as well. I'm not sure if this affects ox carts and newly the Roman engineers as well. I think that's the case as well because hey, they don't have really a type and you train them at the town center, so they might actually get affected by this as well. Although their training times are pretty low, so you don't really care. This is definitely gonna be useful when you're getting your villagers out, when you're getting your caravans out, and it can be quite useful on water maps if you're going for some fishing boats. Why not get them out faster, right? So I'm gonna say this is up to you, but let's be honest, like getting villagers and caravans out faster, that's pretty nice to be honest. But it might be harder to afford it because hey, you still need some wood. And obviously you're gonna need also some food, so also you can argue that as Persian you get the toggleable tag for the villages, the paid labor, which lowers the training time by 45%. So you don't really need the skilled labor that much. That's a good argument. Remember, this also affects caravans. Not bad. And you don't always start in Silver Age, so you might not have the paid labor all the time. So pretty okay. Also, yeah, this is gonna be more useful early when you're getting your economy set up. Whereas the forester, hey, always active, always getting more wood. So yeah, definitely up to your choice. Okay, let's move on to level 10 milestones. Seasoned crew increases siege movement speed by 8% versus mastering decreases infantry training time by 5%. I'm gonna say I'll leave this up to you. I kinda prefer the siege movement speed more when I have the access to the siege because hey, siege is slow, so having some movement speed that that works pretty nicely. Having some fast war wagons can be really nice. Training time, I think this is not bad, but it feels pretty low. And pretty much the thing about this is I don't think it's really that worth it because most of the infantry units you get from barracks, and barracks have the training time upgrades. So pretty much most of your infantry units just train fast naturally because they come from barracks. So I think this milestone is more useful for the Persian and especially for the immortal. Remember, you can always use the toggle attack to speed up the production there, but it's gonna cost you more. So this might not be completely bad, but I think it's just better to go the season crew because I don't think this is really necessary. Like you can always speed up the immortal production thanks to the toggle attack, and it's by 60% lower train time. Like oh my god, that's quite a lot. But also they get a lot more expensive, obviously as well. So careful there. And yeah, for immortals you even get the Roham advisor to lower the train time by 20%. So I don't really think you need mastering now. So for me, seasoned crew is better option. But like I said, I'll leave it up to you. Level 20 milestones. Stable masters decreases cavalry cost by 4% versus town patrol, increases building line of sight by 50%. I'm gonna say both are these pretty good as well. Cavalry cost, well, cavalry ain't cheap to be honest. Cavalry cost a lot of food and some cavalry units cost a lot of gold as well. Namely the Cataphract, which is Persian unit. 150 gold for one Cataphract, that's a lot of gold. And 100 food as well, oh my god. That's a pricey unit. Building line of sight, yeah, this definitely works best with the watch posts, since you typically put a lot of line of sight on them. So yeah, additional 15% more intel. I feel like stable master is slightly better because hey, I don't really need that much line of sight. I can always build more watch posts. That's my honest opinion. But 4% also ain't that much. So yeah, it's your choice in my opinion. Choose whatever you like more. Okay, level 30. Taxes. Grants a small trickle of 0.75 gold per second versus skirmishing increases ranged movement speed by 5%. 5% movement speed is not bad, but on ranged units, it kinda depends how much you micro your ranged units. Persian ranged units, well, except the mounted archer, have a lot of range, so you don't have to move them that often, pretty much. For mounted archers, yeah, mounted archers are pretty fast, so 5% there can help. Why not? It can be nice. Now having like almost 1 gold for free, it can help you early. Let's say, hey, you wanna earn some gold, but you wanna focus more on food, so you can like produce more villagers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, pretty much this helps with Sparabara production early because Sparabara just goes 5 units of gold. So you can get a Sparabara. How long does it take? It's like you get 3 gold per 4 seconds. So yeah, it's like 6 seconds for one Sparabara, I think. Even more, right? Yeah, it's even more. It's like one Sparabara every 7 seconds for free. So you can focus more on the food at that point. I think Texas is very nice because it helps a lot and definitely helps a lot in City Conquest. Hey, you wanna play some City Conquest? This is your milestone. Just go with it. It can be very useful. Yeah, I don't think range movement speed is that useful, so I think Taxis is better choice, but you might like skirmishing more, so I'll leave this up to you, but I'm just gonna say Taxis feels better to me. Okay, level 40. Artificers increases siege health by 8% versus munitions increases range damage by 5%. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know how often do you go for battering rams because this feels more like a battering ram milestone. So this can depend how often you go for rams. Because otherwise it's always gonna be munitioning. And as Persian, yeah, you pretty much wanna go with range units because hey, you can have a lot of them, and with that huge amount of range you get on them, yeah, that 5% is gonna do something. So I think munitions is straightforward the choice here. Siege health, yeah, it can depend. Maybe you're going some pure war wagon thing. That can be a thing as well, yeah, sure. Keep your war wagons alive, that can happen as well. But I don't think you really want this. I don't think you really want to do this. You don't really want to go pure war wagons. You want to put some Sparaparas in front of them at least. So I think munitions straightforward, better choice here. Okay, let's move on to the Celtic ones. These are gonna be quite nice. Level 5. Carpentry decreases house cost by 20% versus Fosterage increases villager health by 20%. Now I'll be honest, I think Carpentry wins this by far, like by long distance. It's already much better milestone, especially for Celts, where you need to build houses to even age up. Yeah, this is very useful milestone for Celts. Now, I'm not gonna say you cannot go for stage, but I would say you're thinking about some weird villager rush strategy in PvE quest. Well, that can work when you're playing some normal quests, some normal repeatable quests, non-elite, non-legendary, especially not non-legendary. But let me tell you one thing, this actually does not affect villagers only. Again, this also affects caravans, fishing boats and merchant transports as well. So you can use it there as well. Hey, your merchant transports can fight. They can last longer by 20%. That's wonderful, right? Yeah, you don't really care. You don't really want to fight with your merchant transports. So carpentry all the way. But it's an interesting fact, yeah. Remember, this affects caravans and the others as well, not only villagers as a unit. Yeah, carpentry all the way. Remember that. Level 10. Weapon Mastery increases infantry, ranged and cavalry critical strike chance by 2% versus Prospecting increases villager gathering rate from gold deposits by 6%. Both of these milestones are pretty nice. You can pretty much choose either of these. Like having more gold from gold deposits is very nice. Especially helps when since you have gold mines as scouts, so hey, you can get the gold out faster. But most people would probably argue, hey, you can just build market early and just spam caravans early, so you don't really need the gold from gold mines. And it's just straightforward to go. It's just better to go with the weapon mastery at that point. So yeah, I would kind of agree with that. But hey, if you have some issues early, maybe the gold from gold mines might not be a bad idea either. So I think both can be really good milestones. It's up to you. I'm a little bit. I think Weapon Master is slightly better, but only slightly. Yeah, it's up to you to be honest. Level 20. Okay, Huntsman decreases ranged cost by 4% versus Militia increases villager damage by 50%. Yeah, range cost that can be nice. This includes carpenters, bowmen, slingers. Yeah, very nice milestone. Can save some wood there. Now, villager damage by 50%. Yeah, again, you might be thinking about some weird villager rush idea. Remember, don't do it in legendary quest. That might be too dangerous for you. And yeah, one interesting fact, this also affects fishing boats and merchant transports. Yippee! Some offensive merchant transports coming in. Pick your militia and foster it right now. Do it now, Scouts. Yeah. Oh boy, just the imagination. How strong can those merchant transports go? Oh my god. I need to check the numbers, actually. How high can the damage go? Especially with this. Oh boy. Can be quite interesting. Yeah, this also affects it, so I think Huntsman is straightforward better, but hey, if you feel like Militia is better for you, yeah, go ahead. 4% ain't that much, to be honest, so yeah, you can live without Huntsman as well. So, but I think both are pretty good choices here, because both are kinda meh. Okay, level 30. Lookouts increases watch post line of sight by 25% versus agriculture decreases farm build cost by 15%. So lookouts pretty similar to the Persian milestone, but this affects only the watch post and it's much stronger, 25%. So yeah, if you wanna see farther, hey, this is your milestone. I'm gonna argue, hey, you wanna see farther, hey, build another watch post. I think agriculture is very good. It can definitely help you build up your farms early. It can save you quite a lot of wood, especially when you're playing as guns and you're playing to go some heavy food intense unit. Maybe you're planning to go something like the horseman. Yeah, those cost a lot of food, so getting those farms set up early can work out for you pretty nicely. So I would say both are pretty good, but I'm inclined towards the agriculture more. I think it's better option, but I'll leave it up to you. Both are pretty good. I think agriculture is slightly better for me, at least for me. Okay, level 40, Metallurgy decreases armor deck cost by 8% versus Athleticism increases infantry movement speed by 5%. Both are pretty okay milestones. For the armor decks, I would argue you're gonna save something, but yeah, most of it comes late game and yeah, it's not gonna be that much. Let's be honest, you're not gonna save that much. But it can help you to get those decks sooner. But once you get them, yeah, this milestone does nothing to you. It can be much better to just go with the athleticism and speed up your infantry, and since Celtic infantry typically is fast, yeah, even faster infantry. That can work out for you nicely. So I'll leave this up to you, but I think athleticism is better choice here. Also notice there's quite a lot of wood discounts here as Celts. Like you have cheaper houses, cheaper farms, cheaper ranged units, just a lot of wood and stuff. Don't forget armor attacks also cost wood. Like you don't really need that much wood. That's actually interesting. Just don't overdo it, okay? What are you gonna do with all that wood? Especially once you get all the gear you need on Celt. Oh my god, so much wood. Insane. But let's move on to the Babylonian milestones. Level 5, Construction, decreases barracks cost by 15% versus Fisherman, decreases fishing boat cost by 20%. Yeah, both depends, kinda. Fisherman depends if you have access to the water and if there are any fishing spots, and if it's actually worth going for fishing. Like if there's only one fishing spot, I would not really care, but if there's like multiple, hey, this can be pretty nice. Barracks cost, yeah, that depends if you're planning to go for infantry, which as Babylonian is not a bad idea because hey, royal guards are pretty strong, but you will go more often for the lancers, so you will need stables more. So yeah, you'll kind of forget about the barracks. Both are kind of okay and both are kind of meh. So yeah, choose for yourself. I think barracks is something I go more often for, so I think barracks is better for me. But hey, if you wanna abuse some fishing spots, fishing boats cheaper can be good choice. Let's move on. Level 10 milestone. Apprenticeship increases villager repair rate by 15%. versus quarrying increases villager gathering rate from stone mines by 6%. I'll be honest, both of these are kinda mech as well. Villager repair rate, yeah, I did the siege tower with villagers recently, but I don't really think you need it, to be honest. Like, your villagers are repairing pretty fast on their own, so I don't really think you need to increase that anymore. It could be nice to test and see if the Roman engineers are getting affected by this as well, because they can also repair siege. So it would be interesting. But I think it's hard to test and see whether it works because hey, it's just a small number, so probably you're not gonna even notice it. So I'm gonna go with quarrying because that's gonna be more useful. You're gonna gather some stone from stone mines. So yeah, that's gonna help better than the repair rate overall. And typically you don't really wanna repair it. It might be just better to just demolish the building and build it again than repair it. Typically you don't want your buildings to take damage anyway, so yeah, stone gathering here, quarrying all the way. Level 20, architecture, decreases town center cost by 15% versus surplus, grants 25 starting food, wood, gold and stone. Now I remember using surplus on one quest, and that was the Bronze Age challenge. And that was more work for the other ships, and oh boy, I feel like there was no other way. So I think surplus is good there. I think surplus is good for those quests where you start with low amount of resources, where you start like H1, you got almost nothing, every resource has value, so I think this can be good for those quests. Whereas town center, yeah, generally it's gonna be better in most of the others. So I think this is up to you, but most likely you'll end up with architecture because you're gonna end up using it more often than the surplus. But I think surplus can be useful. I think it has some usage. It's just not that noticeable. Level 30 milestones. Yay. Sturdiness increases infantry health by 8% versus stalwart ranks increases ranged health by 8%. I'll be honest, this is sturdiness all the way, but it might be interesting to try out some tanky ranged units, and Babylonians actually have that option, going with the war chariots, who start with quite a lot of health. Like they have 800 base health. That's a lot of health. I think even elephant archers have less than that. So it might be interesting. It might be interesting even on some other ranged units. I was thinking about using this on Greek peltas as well, who just have low range. It might be good on slingers with low range, so Celtic ones, Egyptian ones. Those don't get that much range, so it can be useful there. But you want your infantry to tank, so most of the time it will just end up better for the infantry to have more health. So yeah, I think sturdiness is much better choice than stalwart ranks. Yeah, that's more of a experimental tier milestone. So yeah, sturdiness all the way. Level 40. Fabrication decreases siege cost by 4% versus mobilization decreases military training time by 3%. Yeah, let's be honest, both of these milestones are kinda bad. Like, those numbers are pretty low. If I had to choose, I think fabrication is better, because as Babylonian, you get gardens, so 3% train time is nothing. Because you have gardens. Like, why would you care about the 3%? Just go with the siege cost as Babylonian. For the other civs, that can depend. If you have access to siege, yeah, it's obviously gonna be better to go with the siege cost, because 3% is not that much and you can always build more production, obviously. And 3%, yeah, it's gonna be more significant in some early early parts of the quest, yeah. that might do something. It's not gonna be much. Like, let's be honest, this does not do that much. Even the fact that it affects all the military units, I don't really think it's gonna be that worth at all. Like, as Babylonians, gardens are there, as the other civs, yeah, you don't really care. And a lot of civs actually have also some other way to speed up the trading, so yeah, not many of them really need this. So siege cost, I think, is much better choice here. Okay, let's move on to the Norse milestones. Level 5, Scavenging decreases outpost and watch post cost by 25%, versus Seafarers increases ship damage by 10%. So yeah, both are pretty good. But I would say go with Seafarers because that's gonna be that one milestone you're gonna use on water maps, especially the Biome Oasis legendary quest. This is gonna be very nice having your ship stronger. I think this is, if you are going often for water maps, this is your milestones definitely. And obviously, yeah, this is nice. Having cheaper watch post outpost, it's nice, but you don't really need that much wood from this. Like, yeah, it's nice. If you like it, yeah, go ahead. But I think the ship damage is gonna be more significant because, hey, if you're playing water maps, it's gonna be great to have this milestone. Let's move on. Level 10 milestone. Stirrups increases cavalry snare resistance by 15%, versus raiding party increases cavalry bonus damage versus villagers by 50%. Eh, I'll be honest, I think both are kinda okay and both are kinda meh. Snare resistance by 15%. It's not bad because your units don't get slowed that much. But let's be honest, this is gonna affect only half of your units because your raiders get snare immunity, so this pretty much affects only horsemen. So the question is, do you want the snare resistance for your horsemen? Hey, you might want it. Remember 15%? Remember, I recently did my video about the combat stats and I mentioned this, that the snare resistance is actually calculated the same way as the armor. So 15% is gonna end up like 13% reduction around that value, okay? Not exactly 13%, but it's gonna be like 13%. If the unit has only like 20% snare, yeah, that's gonna end up lowering it by 2%. Is it that much? I don't really think so. Yeah, bonus versus villagers. It's only one bad thing about it, and it's the fact that you cannot raid properly in PvE quests. Why isn't there a PvE quest where you could raid early? Like, that would be so nice. I would love to see that. Just go raid early, no walls, just get in there and hit those villagers early. Or you will end up under waves of the enemy units and then better hold up and hope for the best. Like, that could be interesting. Going for some raiding party. I like this milestone a little bit because, hey, sometimes those villagers, I don't know how many of you it actually happens, but there's like this one villager, and then you wanna kill it before it actually finishes that stupid tower with 10,000 health, and then it just barely makes it in time and finishes the tower, and you're like, oh my god, I wish I had this. Yeah, I kind of like this. I always hope I end up killing the villagers before they finish the building, and this definitely helps there. So I think both okay and meh at the same time. So it's up to you. Let's be honest, it's up to you. I kind of like the raiding party more because it feels like it can do something for me. But as an instance, hey, I have so many units, I don't really need it. And it affects only one of my units, so I don't really care. Let's move on. Level 20. Herbal remedies increased increased healing rate by 15% versus favorable winds, increases ship movement speed by 10%. Yeah, I think this one is up to you. Again, if you're playing a lot of water maps, the movement speed can be nice. Remember, this affects ships, so that means also your merchant transports, which is nice if you're using them for trade. Yeah, for transporting units, you can always use the long ship, so you don't really need merchant transport for that. So definitely good for trading and obviously fishing boats as well. Hey, the fishing spots are typically far away from the docks, so yeah, movement speed can help there as well. So this can be very nice milestone. Please healing. Let's be honest, Rhapsodes are great healers. Rhapsodes are very good healers. Like that amount of healing they can pull off, even without this milestone, is pretty huge. I kind of feel like it's a good milestone, but I feel like you don't really need it. So I would say movement speed, but I'll leave this up to you. If you want the stronger healing from Rhapsodes, hey, go ahead. It's very good. It's your choice. Now let's move on to level 30 milestone, and this one probably most of you have been waiting for. Frenzy increases infantry attack rate by 8% versus Sunder increases infantry ignore armor by 8%. Yeah, the long question, and most of the players will go Frenzy, and I'm the only maniac going for Sunder. I don't think I'm really that maniac. I think Sunder has its own usage other than the Frenzy. Let's be honest. Infantry attack rate by 8%. That always means you increase your infantry DPS by 8%. It's always gonna be 8%, no matter what. Sunder, this is more. This number of damage increase actually depends on the armor of the enemy unit. Like I explained how the ignore armor works in my last video about the combat stats, which if you haven't seen, go watch it. You might find out something interesting how the armor works and the ignore armor. I think those two should be like the main stats in that video that you should find out how they work. So yeah, this works best against high armor units, and it definitely is the most noticeable when the armor it gets very high. Yeah, the point where it becomes as good as 8% damage increase is actually when the enemy unit has 0.5 armor. Yeah, there can be actually more units than you might imagine, but if you're fast enough and the enemy units don't really get the armor attacks that soon, then you might end up with Frenzy being better because hey, you'll always have the 8%. Ignore armor is gonna become better for those quests where the enemy units really get the armor attacks, and it might be good for quests where the enemy already have some pretty huge armor. And this can include some Celtic quests because hey, 3 out of 4 Celtic infantry units have some basic infantry armor. Like those spearmen have some base armor, longswordsmen have some base armor. Also, they get armor from their champion upgrade, so that works against them pretty nicely. And champions start already at 0.5 infantry armor, so against champions, very useful. And yeah, if you want some other example, I think every single spearman, once they get the second tier of armor upgrades, then Sandra will be better choice because they get over 0.5 armor. Most of the anti-infantry melee units, such as Hippospists, such as long swordsmen, Arjars, Royal Guards, yeah, this will just become better choice again once they get the second tier. And yeah, some of those heavy armor units, that would be the Celtic Longswordsman, Norse Hardjar, and the Celtic Champion. Those 3 units, that's gonna be very noticeable because those units get a lot of infantry armor, not only from armor but also they either start with it or they get it from champion. Especially Hardjars. Oh my god, have you seen that 50% armor increase from the champion upgrade? Oh my god, that's a lot of armor. So yeah, it's up to you. Are you fast enough so the enemy does not get the armor attacks? Frenzy might be better choice for you. If you are slower and you prefer like, if you have slower playstyle like I do, yeah, Sunder can be better choice. Also, you can cut down trees with Sunder. Have you noticed that? Have you seen that? Oh my god, just those berserkers cutting down trees. Oh boy, that's beautiful. Never getting stuck in trees. Never. Because why? Because I cut them down. Sunder, it's your choice. Now, let's move on. Level 40. Adaptiveness. Increases infantry, ranged and cavalry bonus damage protection by 25%. Versus parry. Increases infantry, ranged and cavalry melee infantry armor by 15%. Well, let's be honest, I would not pick the infantry armor at all because like why should I? Why should I pick this? Like I don't really I don't think there's like any necessity there's any necessary situation where I would say, hey, I need infantry armor, like maybe on my cavalry units so they can be end up better against spearmen. But wait, I can go to bonus edge protection and end up better against spearmen. Because why? Because I block most of the bonus damage they deal to me. Yeah, so pretty much the adaptiveness is much better choice, especially once you start playing legendary quest. Enemy units get bonus damage against all these three types. So yeah, bonus damage protection helps there, and it works against every single enemy unit because they get those bonuses, and it's so annoying. They get so much. Not only they are elite, they get the bonuses. So adaptiveness all the way because hey, it makes your units much tougher, believe me. And it's definitely gonna be noticeable against those units that already have some bonus against your units. So Spearman, perfect example. Cavalry, hey, they can survive much longer against Spearmen. Very nice milestone. And until the Romans came out, I would say this was the #1 milestone you would always pick. Except for water maps, because this does not affect ships at all. So yeah, on land maps, #1 milestone. Water maps, I would go with the ship damage, obviously. Because why not? Yeah, ship damage for water maps. This is definitely #1 milestones you would pick, and I think you're still gonna pick it. But wait, we still have the Romans, and these are new. Oh my god, these are new. So these are kind of, yeah. I think I need more experience with these milestones, but I think I got my decision. I got my answers. Which milestones would I pick? So level 5. Game hunting increases villager gathering rate from huntables by 10%, versus fleet-footed increases villager movement speed by 4%. Now let's be honest, huntables, yeah, you gather food from huntables only early, right? Because you're limited on those, and later you'll end up with farming. So why not just go for the movement speed and increase, well, pretty much everything, right? Well, I'll be honest with you, I've tested this. I actually tested a 4% movement speed. I was testing it in the offline mode, and oh boy, let me tell you, I don't think there was difference at all. I ran the tests. I ran the tests, and let's be honest, I've tested it on one ice quest where you start with villagers going to work right away and start to harvest. And I tested it, and I took a look how many resources I got within a minute. And then I was like, that can't be right. So I tested it I tested 2 minutes. And let's be honest, if there was any improvement, I did not see it. I'll be honest. I even saw it better without the milestone. I was like, what? No way. That cannot be right. Literally had better results without the milestone, and I don't even know why. I don't know if it was like so completely random. That's why I ran the test for 2 minutes, and if there was any improvement, it was less than a percent. One test ended up better, and it was less than a percent improvement on resources. And I'll be honest, I had in that quest, some of those farms are even more distant from storehouses, and the difference was not there at all. Difference was either so small you're not even gonna notice it. So you will need some long distances to actually get some effect out of this. And yeah, if you're going for a longer distance, you're doing something wrong because you should build a storehouse closer to it. And there's a nice milestone for that as well to help you. Actually, two. So I'll be honest, fleet-footed, that was my first thought. But after testing it, yeah, no, game hunting for me. Game hunting for me. I cannot go with it. I cannot go with it. I cannot go with fleet-footed. After the test, I cannot. It's a terrible joke. I don't think you wanna do it for because of economy. For traveling longer distances, yeah, this can save you some time. But I'll be honest, I'm gonna prefer the game hunting here because I think it's gonna be more usable, more useful than fleet-footed. So for me, it's game hunting. Hey, if you wanna go fleet-footed, go ahead. But after the test, I just cannot look at it at all. It was terrible. It was terrible. Let's move on. Level 10 milestones. Dry dock increases ship health by 10% versus reconnaissance. Increases cavalry line of sight by 20%. Yeah, about it. Like I said, it's better to use cavalry for scouting because they're fast, but at the end, once you're level 40 and you have the gear, you don't really care about the line of sight on your cavalry because you have watch posts. Build watch posts, you'll see much more. Yeah, most of the quests you pretty much, once you've learned the quest, you pretty much know what's where, so you don't really need scouting that much. You just need to use the scouts to reveal the locations you need. So yeah, pretty much dry dock is the option here. I think dry dock is the option here no matter what. I don't see reason to pick reconnaissance at all. And yeah, again, water maps. Regular milestones for water maps can be very useful. Dry dock here, definitely. Let's move on. Level 20, conscription. Decreases infantry cost by 4% versus supply lines decrease storehouse cost by 20%. Yeah, so if you're going for infantry, yeah, you're gonna spam a lot of infantry. This can be very nice, and it's gonna add up over time. And yeah, this is more of a early bonus because later 4%. What's that? Right, 4% is not that much. But have you seen the cost of those centurions? Those cost a fortune and just one. Oh my god, that's an expensive unit. And some greedy because they want so much gold. Like, oh my god, Romans were greedy. Not gonna lie. Yeah, if you're going for centurions, yeah, this is your milestone here. I'll be honest, I think supply lines is better because saving the wood early, getting more storehouses set up early, I think this is better choice to be honest. And you don't have to feel bad about putting more storehouses up just so you save the time from traveling and just make your villagers spend more time harvesting, namely the wood. So save wood, gather more wood. I think that's a good deal. I think supply lines is very good. But I think both are good choices here. But I think supply lines is just gonna be better. But your choice. It's your choice. Remember, it's your choice. I think both can be good. Let's move on. Level 30 milestones. Spotters. Increase siege line of sight by 20% versus equestrianism. Enables 2 health per second regen for cavalry units. Now, siege line of sight. I think the biggest effect you're gonna see is on Palintonon, and I think it can be very interesting to see Palintonon actually being able to see the targets they're attacking. With their huge line of sight, yeah, that's gonna be pretty useful to be honest. So I think spotters can be very good, but also I would argue, hey, build a watch post. Just build a watch post. That can be my argument as well. So equestrianism, yeah, I'm not really okay with the health regen, but you haven't seen the Decurion at that point because those Decurions, oh my god, they have some armor. And they already start with some health regen? Damn, that's pretty good. Let's go with that. Yeah, so I think both can be very useful. I think it depends what you want to use. Siege line of sight, good for polytons. I think it can be okay on onagers as well. Because hey, you see farther, you can avoid the danger. So that can be just fine as well. But hey, if you're building your watch post properly, I think equestrianism is gonna be much better option for you. So yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you to be honest. I think both are pretty okay, but also kind of meh as well if you know what you're doing. So your choice. And last milestones, level 40 Roman milestones. Corbelled arches decreases buildings caused by 8% versus siegecraft increases siege damage by 5%. You see this milestone? Cheaper buildings by 8%. Now tell me, ain't that the most broken milestone you've ever seen? Remember the Norse adaptiveness? Like I said, that would be the most useful milestones of all, except for water maps. This milestone, you can pretty much use it on any map where you build. Like the only time you don't pick this is when you don't build. And how many quests is there where you don't build? Literally, how many quests is there? Like you maybe city conquest, city defense, for some of the other quests. I can't think of any. Like when you play mainly legendary quests, yeah, you're pretty much gonna build a building there. So cheaper buildings there, that's pretty good, right? You're gonna use this. Pretty much, I don't see like reason to pick siegecraft at all. I never feel like I need like 5% more damage. Like maybe if I had 20%, but 5%? Yeah, okay, with the splash it works nicely, but I never feel like that I would need any more damage. I always get enough siege that I one-shot most of the stuff anyway, and 5% is not gonna do that much for me. So I think corporate arches, and it's the most broken milestone because you can use it pretty much on 95% of the quests, I would say. 95% quests. This milestone can be used. There are only like few exceptions. There would be like city defenses, maybe some micro missions. I think there's like one in Babylon where you have to get through a canyon and you have only a bunch of priests and you cannot train anything. So yeah, you cannot train anything. So that would be the one additional quest where you cannot abuse this. Like I said, not many quests where you would not use this. Like pretty much any legendary quest, you're gonna use this. I think best choice and number one milestone here, no matter what. I think it's broken like 8%. It doesn't look that much, but when you think of all the buildings you're gonna build, that's a lot of resources. Just think of the houses. Just think of the houses. You're gonna build 24 houses, each cost 20. I mean, 50 wood. That's 1200 wood. You already save almost 100 wood just from the houses. You save 100 there. Then think about all the military production you're gonna build. You're gonna build at least 10 barracks. Castellums, as the Romans, right? You're gonna build 10. That means 2000 wood. That's another 160. You're gonna build armory. That's another 16. You're gonna build forum. You're gonna build, I don't know what you can build. Farms. You're gonna build farms, town centers, maybe some defenses, and it's just gonna add up. That's gonna be a lot of resources saved. It's gonna be incredible. Not even a Celtic milestone is gonna save you that much, to be honest. What cheaper armor it takes? Like, there's no way. Number one broken milestone, no matter what. No matter how I look at it, this is gonna be the most big milestone ever because why would you go this? You don't really need this. You don't really need this. You don't really need this. Like I would swap Siegecraft with Spartans, and then I would say yeah I can go with Siegecraft at 30. That would make more sense to me. But with this, like there's nothing. Like I would say hey it's more useful than buildings cost. Like how can you find anything more useful than this? There's no way. So yeah, that was the last milestone. I told you my opinion about them. Yeah, make sure you pick the right ones. Like there are some good ones, there are some bad ones. So some obvious choices like this. Some tougher choices. Which one was like tougher? Let's see. Like some tougher choices. Tougher choice would be this one, I guess. Some tough choice. Yeah, yeah. There are not that many like tough choices. Like this one maybe. Like there are easy choices, there are some tough choices. So yeah, it's always up to you. Remember, choose wisely. Remember, you can use it as any other save. So even if you're not going to use it as the save you're playing as, you can always use it as the other save. Especially if you don't want to play that save, yeah, you just pick some milestones and use them as the other saves. You can always do that. Remember to pick adaptiveness and corporate arches because those two #1 milestones, no doubt. Very useful. So I hope you enjoy this. Tell me what you think about the milestones. Maybe I did say something wrong. Maybe something is better option than the other. I told you what I think. So yeah. So thank you so much for watching.
Do I have a deal for you? Good day.